We are live, Judge.
Steve, you up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. It's now 10 a.m. We're here for the regular session of the Hunt County Commissioners Court meeting. At this time, I'll call this meeting to order, and I'd like to welcome Commissioner Northcutt from Rains County here today. It's good to have you in our county. For any of those that are here we have two agendas today. One's at 11 and one's at 10. If we're not through at the 10, we'll recess, go into the 11 o'clock meeting for the approval of our budget and tax rate. So anyone that's here to discuss that, and when we have public testimony, we can't respond in this meeting, but we can respond in the 11 o'clock meeting. So anyone here wishing to speak on the budget will need to wait until the 11 o'clock meeting to address the court so that we can discuss it with you. At this time, I'll ask Commissioner Martin to lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to our flags.
Shall we bow? Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for allowing us to meet and discuss the communities. We thank you for everything that you have given us. We thank you for the gift of life that you have given us. Those that have had destruction in their communities, as far as Montego and Hawaii and other areas, California, we ask you to please bless those people that have lost loved ones, please help them. In Christ's name we ask all these things. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, everyone. We have Commissioner Hutchins, Monroe, Martin, and Harrison present. I'm Judge Stovall. I'll be presiding over the meeting today. Commissioners, you have the minutes from the August 18th, 2023 special session. Entertain a motion for approval.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner, you got the minutes from the August 22nd, 2023 regular session. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We have the minutes from the September 5th, 2023 special session. Entertain a motion for approval.
We'll move.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. This time we'll have public testimony. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should conduct themselves in a civil manner. The Commissioners Court cannot take action on items not listed on the agenda in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Concerns will be addressed by county staff. They may be placed on a future agenda or addressed by some other course of response. And again, if you want to talk about the budget, please wait till 11 o'clock so that we can discuss it with you at that time. Mark White.
Good morning, Your Honor.
There you go.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor and Commissioners. Appreciate the opportunity to speak today. Our 40th President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, said, "We've made much progress already. So let's go forth in good cheer and stout hearts, happy warriors out to seize back a country and a world to freedom." Well, those famous words remind me of the situation with Merritt, Hunt County, and Farmersville. We've made much progress already, so let's go forth with good cheer and stout hearts, happy warriors out to seize back a community and a county to freedom. I could tell you all the amazing blessings that have come from our happy warriors through this very burdensome and authoritarian approach by Farmersville, but that's a story for another day. I do, however, want to give you an update on our progress. As some of you know, Judge Stovall, Commissioner Hutchins, and 4 members of this Friends of Merritt met with the Farmersville Mayor, Wiebold, and City Manager Ben White, and Assistant City Manager Mike Sullivan. But I think the best way to sum up that meeting and the overall attitude of that meeting came from a comment made from the Honorable Judge Stovall. He directed a comment to Mayor Wiebold. If you would quit talking down to these people and humble yourself a little, this meeting would go a lot better. And that was after a great amount of discussion towards us. So greatly appreciate that comment. The remainder of the meeting was how Friends of Merit could help Farmersville, either by repairing their damage on their trail, or how they would like us to post on Facebook and other media sources how we're working hand in hand. The arrogance of them is just beyond me. The Tuesday following our Farmersville meeting, I actually was invited to meet with Congressman Keith Self to explain Merit's position and our desire to have Farmersville reverse the ETJs and the annexation of the trail. He listened very politely, but I believe he had already accomplished his goal of having the groups try to work together to some resolution. However, I don't see Farmersville City Council working together for anyone's benefit but for Farmersville City Council. There will likely be more discussion and more likely more pressure on Farmersville to actually try to work together. Talking about pressure, the ETJ release petitions for the first half miles of the ETJ into Hunt County have been filed with the city of Farmersville, and those will be actually read tonight by the 2 residents who submitting them, with a large number of attendees wearing this shirt. I hope that they understand. They asked, if we were serious, and if we had the support. I hope they see with 100+ people there tonight that we've got the support we need. Although the massive ETJ along the Chaparral Trail has been rolled back, Farmersville chose to expand their 2 semicircle areas into downtown Merritt and along Highway 380. So we're in the process of petitioning out of those 2 areas as well. They captured another 154 properties in Merritt proper and 95 properties down at Highway 380.
She's bad about that.
What did I do, Jessica? I'll finish up by just saying, lastly, let's go forth with good cheer and stout hearts. Happy warriors out to seize back a community and county for freedom. Thank you guys for all you do. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Mark. Paul Voss. Who are you? Are you the Chamber of Commerce or are you a citizen? Which one to go first? Which one of you is going first?
Let's do the Chamber of Commerce first.
Okay.
I'm Paul Voss. Thank y'all for having me today. I'm the Director of the Chamber of Commerce and Commerce, and we've had
Hang on just a second, Paul. I think the mic's not working. Let's see if we can get something else done here.
I can talk louder.
And we got to make sure it's on record. Boy, you're going to be special now.
I'm not required to sing or dance or anything.
Oh, I hope not.
No, you hope not.
I hope not.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yep.
All right. Anyway, I'm the director of the Chamber of Commerce of Commerce, Texas, and have been for about 10 years. We're going into our 37th Boat Ark Bash that's coming up in 2 weeks. And I'm not here to complain or anything like that. I'm just wanting some clarification on some of the Hunt County laws about the health department. We have some vendors that are coming to our event that have been coming for, one lady has been coming for 27 years. And she has a food truck that she comes with. Most of these people that come they make a living doing this around the state. And they have been certified by the state with a license to perform, to sell food from their carts and their trucks, and these are all mobile units. And when they They come, we found out the other day that they are required to come all the way to Hunt County to Greenville to get a certification from Greenville. But
From Hunt
talking to
County.
Richard Hill the other day, Hunt County goes by the state licensing bureau. And these people, a lady yesterday came from the other side of Longview's where she lives. She came down, it's a 3.5-hour trip one way to come over and do this. And it costs her a lot of money to come over and do this. My question is, if we're going by the same rules that these people have already adhered to, and they have that license for that, they can go anywhere in the state and do this, why would they have to come all the way here for another inspection? And could it not be to the point where they send their inspection that they've already gotten to perform anywhere else in the state of Texas instead of having to come over and do it firsthand? And
Daniel, can I respond to that? Just a simple clarity. Paul, you're really speaking in the wrong place. The state says that state permit is good anywhere in the state of Texas except those counties that have a health department. And we have a health department, so they are required by law to get a permit from the local health department. And here's the map of Texas with those departments. The ones in blue are the ones that have health departments. The one in white, they don't have health departments. So it's not our rule, it's the state law. They have to get it. The lady that came yesterday had a whole notebook full of permits she got from counties all across Texas that she had to get the permits. So they need to appeal to the state to change the rules, not us.
Well,
we just follow what rules they give us, Paul.
and I understand that, but if Hunt County does not have rules in place except for the state rules, why is it not redundant?
It is, maybe it is, but that's not what the state says.
Well,
There's a lot of state law we don't agree with. That's just one of them.
I'm not agreeing with or not agreeing with it, but I'm just trying to get, because we're trying to expand the Burr Oak Bash. We're also, can I have just?
Yes, you got a couple of.
We're also doing the same thing at the university. The university is fixing to start doing a program where they're offering food truck places to do every day.
If they do that, they'll be permitted through us one time, and then they'll be good for the length of that permit. They won't have to come back and forth every day.
Okay, but this is going to be for a year, is that correct?
I think that's correct. Is Richard and anybody in here? I'm not 100% sure on that.
Well, but still, these people who are coming from one guy comes from Texarkana. And so when they come over here, it's quite an expense for them. And I'm just trying to get clarification on this. So
Well, we need to talk to Richard, but I think once they get a permit, it's not good for just a day, it's good for something.
no, yeah, and I understand that for a year.
My understanding is they're not being required to come in advance, Paul. They're required to have an inspection. They can have it the day of the event, but if they fail that inspection, then they're out for that event. So
Okay, and I asked that question the
my
other
understanding
day.
from the health department is they're just trying to make sure they're up here and then they can pass so they can be a part of the event. That's the way I
Right.
understand it.
Well, and these people, like I say, this one lady does it all over the state, and
Right.
most of them do. That's how they make a living. And so whenever they come over, they don't mind doing that, but they were told that they would not be able to be inspected on a Saturday. So,
I can't answer that. Let's move on to Paul Voss, individual. Your
okay, yeah, okay. Let me put on another hat. I live at 5615 County Road 4704, out towards Fairleigh, Texas. And I've been living there for 40 years, I guess, something like that. We've got 4 neighbors on our road, so it's not a real long road or anything like that. We have some people that have bought some property across the road from me, and the first thing they did, they brought in a bunch of old junk trucks and which I'm not trying to sell my property or anything like that, but anybody who looks knows that our property has been denigrated by the old trucks that we've got. I have complained to Richard, to his office, about it on 4 different occasions over the last year. And when they get hauled into court, they got the first part of it dismissed because they lied about it. They said that they had complied. They had not complied. We had to go through the whole process again. What I'm asking from the court is, could we get some clarification on what the law says? Nobody seems to, we had somebody who inspected it at once and said that it was a 300-foot rule from the road. They don't have 300 foot from the road to move these trucks. And it looks, anyway, they said they had to put up either a barrier or they had to move the trucks. Well, they put up a barrier, and the barrier only covers Road 4609. And the address is 5388 4609. But it's at the intersection of Highway 4704, not Highway, Farm Road 4704 and 4609. And if you're coming out of my driveway from my home, you can still see all those trucks sitting over there. The fence is only on one side, and it does not. I can't get anybody to respond to me to let me know, because I have not. I've talked to them, but I have not, I guess, filed a formal complaint. I know it's gone to Judge Cruz's court twice or 3 times, and it does not seem to help anything. They've moved in a mobile home now. They've moved some of the trucks that were behind the fence over around the mobile home, thinking, I guess, that they are not going to be fined because of the mobile home being there. I don't know what the deal is. What I'd like to have is somebody to get back to me or in our people who live on our road that something is going to be done about it, and that we don't have to keep filing on the same thing over and over again. And is the 300 foot only from 4609? I think it says any road that you can see from.
I think that's correct, but
4704 needs to be involved in
we'll
it.
see what we can do, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calvin, can you get with Richard and maybe get some help with Richard on this? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Judge,
Solved by myself.
would it be appropriate to ask Daniel, our attorney, a question about this map?
Well, not right now, it's not on our agenda. We can talk to him later.
Okay.
All right, anyone else? If not, we'll move on. Old business, there's no old business. New business, action item A, consent calendar. Commissioners, you have the consent calendar in front of you. Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. B, action items. Approval of accounts payable.
I make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of line item transfers.
Make a motion to approve line item transfers.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of budget amendments.
Make a motion, we approve budget amendments?
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of payroll and personnel.
Make a motion, we approve payroll and personnel?
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 1, we're going to postpone for just a little bit. We're going to go to action item 2, Treasurer's monthly report for July 2023. Brittany?
Good morning.
Morning.
Making sure you can hear me there.
Well, it's going to be off there. Is that mic up there? Okay.
She clipped
good.
it right up here.
Good.
So you'll have in your packet the treasurer's report for month-end July 31st, 2023. We have a month-end balance of $68,786,930.05 of cash on hand and invested funds. Our interest rates are still slowly ticking up. We know that they'll eventually level off and start going down, but right now we're still making a little over 5% on all of our money that we have invested. Everything else is business as usual. The auditor's books and the treasurer's books agree. Any questions?
Any questions?
Happy birthday, Brittany.
We're not going to sing to you.
Good.
You don't want me to sing. All right, Commissioners, entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Brittany. Action item 3, the County Clerk's Fiscal Year 23-24 Archive Plan. Becky?
Okay, Commissioners, Plan 4 is complete. The marriage records consisting of 18,200 pages in Volume A through Z have been preserved and placed into disaster binders from CoFile. These records are stored in the property library on the first floor of the courthouse. This next phase that we're going through is rather large. It is going to consist of 77,400 pages. I am going to also need to acquire 5 shelving units to hold these disaster binders that we're bringing in. What we are preserving right now are deed record books that are being stored on the 5th floor of the courthouse. They're in good to decent shape. Some of them do have like little insects or little lizards maybe smashed into the pages.
Adds
So,
character.
so we really need to get into those and start working with those. We are in-house rescanning some of our books that when we converted, some of our scans did not convert correctly, so we are in-house doing that right now. And we are also, we have found that we have some really horrible records that are being stored off-site in one of the maintenance buildings. We are currently trying to gather all of that up and bring that into, they have given us one of the cells over here in the juvenile probation area, and we're going to store our records over there, and then we're going to try to get a head count of everything that's involved with that, and that will probably be our next project in the future.
Sheriff Mike can help you get those records moved.
Yes.
What year is that, do you know?
I don't know the years that is stored over in the outbuilding, some of those are from the 1800s.
Wow.
So,
I want to tell you something, though. I want to congratulate what you have already accomplished in this Commissioners Court. You know, we started this, 20-something years ago as far as it's new. And I tell you what, y'all have done an exceptionally good job.
thank you.
Yes.
All right, any questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
Second?
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 4, acknowledgement of order signed by the district judges setting the salaries of county auditor, assistant auditor, and district court reporters. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 5, the DFPS FY 24-25 Title 4E legal contracts. Calvin, if I can get all that out of my mouth.
Morning, Commissioners, Judge. This is back on the agenda, just to refresh, Commissioner Monroe, I believe, wasn't on the court 2.5 years ago, so for the benefit of him and the others that have forgotten, we had put this proposal in front of the Commissioners Court back in May, I believe, of 2021. Basically, what it is a partnership with the Department of Family Protective Services to get federal money back, reimbursement, under a formula using the poverty guidelines for states that have, or counties and states that participate in legal litigation representing children in these CPS areas. So for our county, there's 2 departments that would actually be eligible under this program. One is the district judges, because they pay attorney fees on a yearly basis. It's always in their budgets for CPS cases. And then my office, because I have 2 full-time CPS attorneys. So we've put together a package. We put it to Department of Family Protective Services about 2.5 years ago, and it just sat there and languished for about 2 years. We had also brought on a company out of Capel. They're here today to talk about their contract proposal to the county. Their name is Justice Benefits Incorporated, and it's Amy and Kelsey, I believe, that are here. McKenna and Kelsey, I'm sorry. And I'll let them speak or answer any questions about their contract proposal. But basically what they're going to do is they're going to manage the grant process for us so that we ensure that we keep getting the reimbursement to the county for the legal fees that we incur for CPS cases. It's all in the contract, but basically it's a 2-year renewable contract. That's what was signed off by the court 2 years ago. They don't get paid unless we get paid, my understanding. They
right.
take a percentage, about 22, 23%, okay, it's in the contract, off of whatever we get. But the thing is, we're getting nothing right now. And so we're going to get to give taxpayer money back to the taxpayers that has been going out for all these CPS legal fees for years, because we are going to partner with the FPS, who is already into a grant program under Title IV with the federal government for these fees. And I think in the proposal, does everybody have a copy on the court of the contract? If you'll look at the most important document to y'all probably is the budget worksheet that Justice Benefits put together, because the important figure that y'all would want to see is, I think it's the very first page of that, talks about the projected money that Hunt County taxpayers will get back from the federal government. And it says $94,245 on a yearly basis. Subtract the third party's cut from that of 22%.
Right.
But that's still, whatever that is, that's more than zero. And so I am asking the commissioners to approve not only the contract with DFPS that we go into, and they said if we can execute the contract today, we can start filing our claims for reimbursement in the 4th quarter, which means starting in about 3 weeks, we'll start collecting reimbursement from the federal government. And I also asked you to sign off on the contract, letting these fine people from Capel handle the grants.
You know, I appreciate you bringing this back before the court even 2.5 years later. Have y'all figured out what happened last time that we might correct that to be, I'm for this, there's no doubt about that, but have you figured out what took place and what we can do in order to possibly get this?
I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. Let's just say it wasn't on the, I think Judge Stofall knows because I had included him in some email correspondence. It was very difficult dealing with, there's one person for this region that deals with all of the counties up here in Northeast Texas for this program. And if you can't make contact with that one person at DFPS, you don't go anywhere with your program. I think these people will also explain to you, there are not many counties right now in Northeast Texas that are actually getting this money from the federal government because of this one person. So through persistence and nagging her for the last 2 years, we got to where we're at now.
Thanks for not throwing her under the bus.
I didn't say her name.
Hey, Calvin, I appreciate you bringing this back before the court.
Yeah, just to add to that, unfortunately, a lot of counties did sign on with us in about 2021, 2020 to claim these funds, and the state was the holdup, unfortunately. But McKenna has a presentation on the program, some more details and what JBI will do to maximize those claims and make sure everything's accurate. So yeah, if you want to come on.
Good morning, everyone. I'm McKenna Parsons, the Texas Account Manager for Justice Benefits. So in 2021, we had that contract, and now that everything, oh, is that not? Sorry.
You can clip it.
Clip it? Okay.
I can clip it too. There you go.
Thank you, Jessica.
So in 2021, we had that contract, and now that everything is starting to move with the, oh, sorry.
There you go.
It's, there we go, maybe, now, there we go.
Okay. Now that the process is moving forward with the state, we wanted to come back and give you a refresher on our services. So we are a government consulting firm that specializes in state and federal reimbursement programs. We have 26 years of experience. We work in 5 different federal regions, and we currently are partnered with over 600 agencies and departments nationwide on numerous federal programs, including Title IV-E legal, administrative, FFPSA, targeted case management, Medicaid administrative claiming, the State Criminal Alien Assistance Program, and other special projects. We use a comprehensive support systems to be with you on every step of the claiming. We start in the first stage of getting those contracts going. We're there all the way through the whole claiming process, and then after, we also offer audit support after those claims are submitted. Title IV-E Legal is a federal reimbursement program that reimburses costs for child protective service efforts. Reimbursement areas include guardian ad litem fees for children and their parents. For time spent on CPS casework, that includes court prep, court appearances, follow-up appointments, placement preparation. For attorney offices and law firms, that includes expenditures, salary and fringe expenses, and support staff. The way our services work is we start in the implementation stage, so we're going to be helping you get that contract with the state, which we are in the process of doing now. And then we offer training on aspects of the claiming process, including the continuous time study, which is used for illegal claiming. And we offer our own software for that time study that is done online. We try to take the workload completely off the staff, so we do the whole claiming. And not only will you be maximizing your claims using JBI, but you can also be assured that it is accurate. Everything we do is in compliance with the state and federal guidelines. And we also offer audit support. In the case that the county is audited, our audit team will come on site to help you in any way that is needed for the audit. Title IV Legal would be a very beneficial program for the county because that's another source of untapped federal reimbursement that the county can be receiving back. And our services all are on a contingency fee, so it really is a no-risk contract. We don't get paid unless the county does. And all of the services I've mentioned today are included in that contingency fee. Does anyone have any questions about anything?
Any questions, Commissioners?
Okay, well, thank you all so much for having me today, and we look forward to working with Hunt County.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
You bet. I may have one question. I think Calvin may can answer it, but is this refunding for our outside counsel, or is it for your office? You get the, it's out both. It's both.
It's both, as long as the way that the courts qualify the expenses by the outside attorneys for CPS representation to qualify for Title IV.
Okay.
So, but my understanding is we don't appoint ad litem CPS attorneys unless they're local attorneys. So when you say outside, it's still going to be.
Well, I mean, if the court's appointing an attorney to represent somebody, because we currently, this year's budget's proposed $550,000 for that work. So any monies we can get back would greatly help our taxpayers.
May I ask you something? You brought up a good deal in reference to that on some of these grants, and through some of them, basically, you cannot lower a budgetary in reference to the county simply because of a grant. Is that, in fact, in this situation? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do with other grants.
Yes. Okay, we have a budgetary authority in reference to a line item in reference to that. And a lot of grants that comes out says this will not do away or have it lower your budgetary authority. In other words, you were supposed to go on and carry on with that budgetary authority. You can't cut that. Is that inclusive of all this?
There's no language in the contract before the court. If the commissioners will look at the, I think it's a 4-page DFPS contract.
Yes.
It doesn't have that requirement that most grants have. So what his question is essentially is if we start getting $100,000 back from the feds to reimburse us, can the county budget for next year $100,000 less to offset the
That's right.
$100,000 we're getting? And the answer is no, because that contract language is not in the contract.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Judge, just to clarify, we're able to seek these funds on our own, but we'd have to have the staff, the personnel to do it.
Like all grants that we have to do.
This would be a much more cost-effective
Yes.
to do these funds.
At this time, absolutely.
Thank you.
Is that everything, Judge?
I think so. All right, Commissioners, any other questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 6, an extension master agreement with GASB 75 valuation for Hunt County with Gabriel Reuter Smith, valid to June 25th, June of 2025, excuse me. This is just a renewal contract. It was sent to our county auditor's office. I entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 7, widening the road 4 feet for approximately 1,050 feet on County Road 2608 of rock to oil sand in Precinct 2, monies in escrow. Entertain a motion for approval.
Second?
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 8, the upgrade of approximately 2,643 feet of County Road 4511 from dirt to rock in Precinct 4, monies in escrow. Entertain a
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 9, the replat of Lot 5, Block A of Bartlett Acres, to be known as Chavera, thank you. Estates, lots 1R, 2R, 3R, and Precinct 2.
This is a replat, so it will have to have a
Public hearing, yeah.
notices have gone out appropriately. Haven't received any calls for or against or regarding this replat at all.
All right, at this time, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone that wishes to speak for or against this item? Anybody online? No, there's not. Okay. Being none, I'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, entertain a motion for approval.
Second?
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Final plat of Caddo Trace in Precinct 2.
This is the one that I gave you this morning that had a couple of changes on the drawing showing the lots across the road. There's two platted subdivisions across the road, so we've got 60 foot of right-of-way with the approval of this plat for a ways. And actually, item number 7, the widening of 2608, was in regard to this plat. He's already paid for the escrow upgrade.
Any comments? Questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
Second?
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 11, the final plat of Aguirre Addition, Aguirre, is that how you say? Aguirre? My tongue won't work today. In addition, Precinct 3.
And this one, there's some discussions with the property owners regarding the plat, so I would ask to table it until next meeting, and let's get them on that and get some clarification from them.
Okay. All right, so we'll put it in old business next time.
Yes, sir.
Action item,
For that type of thing, there needs to be a motion, and the motion needs to be to postpone.
okay, is that the family matter one? Is this the plat that is really family members?
It's family to family,
Yes.
correct?
So they're probably not going to come back, but, okay, so what's, the motion needs to be just to postpone it?
Hey,
Motion to postpone to the date of the next meeting.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to postpone this till the next meeting, which is September 26th.
is that the correct date?
Yes, that's correct
I'll
date.
move.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 12, final plat of Wright Estates Phase 2 in Precinct 4.
This is a simple one, roads up to county spec, right-of-way is up to county spec, everything's easy going on it.
All right, any questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we skipped item 1. It's going to be a long presentation. I hate to keep putting you off, but Commissioners, I entertain a motion. We go into executive session under items 1 through 4.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. So I think this will just be a real short session. I needed to have a discussion before our 11 o'clock hearing on the budget, so we'll be right back. Any luck? All right, it is 11 o'clock and we're back in regular session, the Hunt County Commissioners Court, on September 12th. Commissioners, I entertain a motion to go into recess on this agenda. And a motion and second, all in favor say aye. All opposed, motion carries. We're recessed at 11 o'clock. And at this time, we're here for a special session of the Hunt County Commissioners Court. It's Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. It is now 11 a.m. I'll call this meeting to order. We have Commissioner Hutchins, Monroe, Martin, and Harrison present. I'm Judge Stovall presiding. This time we'll have public testimony. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should conduct themselves in a civil manner. Commissioners Court cannot take action on items not listed on the agenda in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Concerns will be addressed by county staff. They may be placed on a future agenda or addressed by someone of the course of response. Daniel, is there anybody online? No, there's not. Does anybody here wish to speak about any item except for the budget or the tax rate? If there's not, I'll close the public testimony. We have no old business. Go to new business. Action B, action items. Number 1, continuation of public hearing for the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. At this time, I'll open a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak about the 2023 budget, come forward and make your comments. Nobody online? Being none, I will close the public hearing. Action item 2, continuation of public hearing, fiscal year 2023-2024 tax rate. Anybody online? No. Okay. Anybody here wish to speak for or against the tax rate of 23-24? Being none, I'll close the public hearing. Action item 3, the adoption of fiscal year 23-24 Hunt County budget. Commissioners, I entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and second. This requires a voice vote, so Commissioner Hutchins, how do you vote?
No.
Commissioner Monroe?
Yay.
Commissioner Martin?
Yay.
Commissioner Harrison?
Yay.
And Judge Stovall votes yay. So it's 4-1. Action item 4, the adoption of 2023 tax rate for 2023 Hunt County budget. I entertain a motion to approve the proposed tax rate.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor say aye. Oh, wait a minute, this got to be a voice vote too, doesn't it?
I think so.
I think both of these have to be a voice vote, yes. Commissioner Hutchins?
No.
Commissioner Monroe?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yay.
Commissioner Harrison?
Yes.
Judge Stovall votes yes. All right. Any other questions or any concerns from the public? Point 336. All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
And a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. We're closing that session at 11:04. At 11:04, we'll reconvene the Hunt County Commissioners Court regular session, September 12th. Action under B, action item number 1, update of Hunt County drainage study. Sorry about all the wait, but we had a lot going on today. Okay. For the public, this is part of a grant that we received from the Texas Water Board, and we're highlighting some drainage problems within our county, and Freese and Nichols are our consultants that have been doing this, and it's an update of that study. What do you need to send at content? I think. Is it send content or? Should be it.
Scroll down to, I got it.
He's done this before, I think.
Yes. All right. All right, can anyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Everybody here?
Testing.
Okay.
All right, cool. So this is a update presentation on the Hunt County Drainage Study. I am George Galosa. I'm here to just give you an update on what we've been doing for the past roughly a year since we've been working on this project. We did an update also back in January, so this will be going from January up until now as what's happened on the project. So a quick agenda, we're going to recap the state flood plan and how this project ties into the state flood plan with the Texas Water Development Board. And also we're going to go into tasks 4 and 5 of this project and the latest efforts that we've been doing. So just a quick vision and goal statements for the project. They're kind of what you see delineated in red is kind of the study extents of this project. We've analyzed that area inside of our HEC-RAS models and HMS models for the county at a high level. But the goal of the project is not to study in detail the entire county. That's just too vast of an area, really. But the goal is to come out of this with locations where we know that there is high flood risk, and that's in combination with site visits that we did with y'all folks and also with the models as well. But at the end of the day, we're coming out of this project with actionable projects that we can then submit to the state for additional funding. So the name of the game is just getting more funding from the state to fund some of these projects that just wouldn't happen otherwise. So Hunt County falls mainly within Region 4, which is the Sabine watershed, the Sabine Region 4 flood plan. There are portions of it that go to Region 2, which is a lower red, and then a small portion of it that goes to Trinity. But for the purposes of this update, I think we'll focus mainly on Sabine, since there's only one project that fell into the lower red. But the same applies for both. It's the same process across the state, just different, basically it goes to different committees or different planning group per region.
Thank you.
So for this project, we're going to be focusing on FMPs. So there's two kind of acronyms to keep in mind from the board, Texas Water Development Board. The FME, they just call them Flood Management Evaluations. FMPs, Flood Mitigation Projects. So projects that we want to submit to the state require a little bit more information. They need to know what the existing conditions are, what we're proposing to do at a given location, and what the impacts are going to be, how much it's going to cost. So it requires some more analysis. The evaluations, you can submit as many as you'd like to the state, but it's just, all you're going to get is like funding to do more studying is what an FME would be for the state. So task 4 screening, we gave an update on this in January, but just to recap, we took just terrain information that's publicly available across the entire county, merged that with other data sources such as land use and other databases for like terrain roughness, a bunch of other parameters that go into a master kind of HEC-RAS model, a hydraulic model for the county. And then we're able to take that model and generate what's called like a rain-on-mesh kind of grid result. And that's kind of just a high-level flooding map. It's not meant to replace anything that FEMA provides you, but you can call it a level of base-level engineering, for kind of mapping around and identifying problem areas and identifying the specific flow characteristics around certain crossings. With that analysis, we ended up with 45 different locations, of which we could group them into about 27 different projects. And in January, with the help of the Commissioner's Court, we selected 6 project locations to focus our study on. And so this is where we left off back in January, was these 6 project selections. And so now we're going to show you what the proposed solutions were and how they look like, kind of just to, and what was submitted to the state back in March. So the state flood plans wrapped up in July 14, I think, at least this first wave of the state flood plans. So all that data was submitted to the state, well, to each planning group in well before July in that case. But this is bringing the commissioners up to speed here, and as well as opening up for public involvement as well. So we can go into detail into all 6 of them. They're very similar in a sense. All the projects kind of have similar characteristics. They're all road projects. Most of the time we're playing with the road elevations, the different bridge spans, different structures underneath the road. So we'll go into the first one a little bit more in detail, and the next one we'll kind of just glide through. But if you have any questions on a specific location or just want to discuss some of the characteristics, we can stop at a certain one. All right, so the first one being County Road 1051 is in Precinct 1, kind of in the northern portion of the county. And so what's going on at this crossing is that there's roughly like a 2-year level of service. So that means that in a given year, there's roughly a 50% chance that the road, it's an everyday storm, so 50% chance that it occurs in a given year. So these are not your FEMA 100-year flooding events that we're looking at here. This is just an everyday event that could happen. So we know that it performs, it has a less than a 2-year level of service, which means the 2 years already overtopping in that case. The flooding depths that we see on the roadway, just by drawing cross sections across the model, is in some locations up to 3 feet of flooding. Some locations it's less, but where the road sags, that's where you have the most impact. And the width of road that's affected by this is about 2,000 feet. So, and currently there's just one bridge crossing and a smaller culvert crossing, but the bridge crossing is around 40 feet, so not enough capacity under the bridge. And in most cases, in a lot of the roads that we observed just through site visits, the bridge is higher than the surrounding roadway. So, and the roadway is kind of at the same level as the surrounding terrain. So there's no way to, basically the roadway is the weak spot in the flow conveyance, so it's going to go through there. So the proposed condition is pretty straightforward. It involves 2 separate spans of bridges to kind of cover the main areas, transferring flow, and also side channels, side ditches on the north end or on the upstream end to convey that flow into the bridge. And so we are held by Texas Water Development Board. For the regional flood plan, they have a standard. It varies a little bit per region, but for Sabine specifically, we're not allowed to exceed 0.35 feet of rise. So like 1/3 of a foot of a rise on the upstream side, or well, anywhere really in the model. That's what they consider to be within the noise kind of the model. That's well within rounding as far as the level of accuracy on these models. So that's kind of what we're meeting with the project. That's how we get to the spans, and the road elevations are designed in that sense. All right, any questions so far?
It's nice.
All right, thank you. All right, and so this is kind of how the new bridge or new road would perform in this sense. So existing, it just sheet flows over the roadway. It does go through the bridge, but the roadway is the main, the low road is what's carrying the flow. Under proposed conditions, since there's 2 bridges, the flow kind of splits around this little island, and you don't have to clear span the whole floodplain, but you can have openings wide enough that flow kind of diffuses around it, and that's what it would look like in a 10-year level of service. So similar situation on County Road 2400, Precinct 2. This is further south in the county. This is getting close to Lake Tawakoni down there. But this is by far the largest length of road that we're dealing with on these projects is this one. The affected road length is 3,000 feet. So it's quite a length and quite a floodplain to cross. And also there's the depth is about 3.5 feet for your 2-year storm. Right now there's only one 60-foot bridge. So when you're crossing 3,000 feet of floodplain, it's not at capacity. So the proposed, it's given the scale that we're at, it's kind of hard to see. There's a gray line showing the bridge, but the bridge that's needed is about 1,500 feet of bridge span. So it's quite an extensive bridge. So this is an ideal candidate to submit for state funding if we want to, have this road to convey traffic, north to south here. And yeah, it involves raising the road at different locations between 1 to 3 feet. But even with raising the road, the span of the bridge, again, is designed to reduce impacts. So nobody is going to feel an embankment or anything. They're not going to feel a rise in the floodplain. And here's kind of how it looks. Very similar characteristics, except that we've encroached a little bit on the floodplain. We've kind of pinched it, and the flow is kind of funneling in and out of the new crossing. So similar story, and another one in Precinct 2. This is site number 32706. Just another crossing. The length of the road is 1,500 feet. The bridge is only 50 feet, and about 1.5 foot of depth. So not as significant as a flooding depth, but still, when it's such a wide road, you still need to raise it. And this one involves 2 separate bridge spans as well as side ditches as well. So a very similar situation. The one thing we have to watch out for on something like this one is residential structures upstream. So there's a close by, seems to be a house or something on the upstream side. We just make sure in the proposed conditions that that house, well, it's kind of cut off, but it's well away from any inundation and it's not flooding now. It's not going to flood after the project either. So. And same situation of another split flow situation where you have 2 bridges working in unison together to pass the flow. So this one is kind of a 2-for-1, I'd say. So this is a project that has 2 bridge crossings, 2 separate tributaries, but we're grouping them as one project because they're close enough and they're the same road. It doesn't make sense to size one of them and ignore the other stretch of the road. So both of these are submitted together as a single project for funding. This is, 3101. So the bridge spans, again, they're typical kind of spans of 50 and 60 feet. If you combine the length of inundation, it's about 1,300 feet, and flooding of 1.5 feet. This one has a unique case where the creek has a sharp bend right next to the roadway. And so there is a potential for erosion. So the embankment has been placed a little bit ahead of it, but we are also proposing armoring on that side of the creek as well, just because there may be a risk for the creek continues to meander, most likely. And so 2 separate bridge spans and kind of the same thing, but just twice. And this is kind of how it looks. You can kind of see the effect of the bend, even though most of the flow is actually centered over here, but that creek will require some armoring. So. All right. Any questions so far on the one?
One question on this last one right here at 3103.
Yeah.
Okay, this one bridge, the one bridge over there on the right basically is a pretty new bridge, and it was raised about, I think, 2 foot prior to what they had.
Yeah.
Did y'all look at the one on 3103 also? The one that's upstream from this?
Upstream, it's likely, I think, in our model it is, but we did not study it as a separate FMP. We don't have a size for that proposed bridge.
Good enough, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, and site number 5, County Road 4105, so Precinct 4, and this is upstream of a railroad. And it's currently the railroad acts as a bit of, it kind of throttles the flow, I guess, for lack of a better word. I guess it's the restricting element is the railroad, because the railroad doesn't flood. It just holds back the water, it backs up. But even if the railroad doesn't flood, the road for sure does. So we know that for sure that at least it has less than a 2-year level of service. The the span of inundation on lower storm events isn't as large as the other ones, but it's still 400 feet at 1.5 foot of depth. So still significant enough to need a project there. And yeah, so another bridge, another side channel, and some grading underneath that proposed bridge as well to open it up a little bit to match the capacity of that railroad. So we have to raise the road out of the flow and widen the capacity. So that's kind of the similar situation, but here you have two structures in series that both kind of restrict the flow. The railroad, where the road doesn't provide much resistance in the existing conditions, it'll provide some resistance, but it'll be wide enough to not affect the property owner. If you can see there's some parcel here with some structures, but the crossing is sized to not cause increases on that property. Okay. And then the last one is County Road 4106. Also in Precinct 4, just currently there's two 7-foot diameter culverts, so just not enough capacity under the road, and a 400-foot spread of flow as well. And another a system of two bridges, because there's two creeks. There's a major creek and then there's like a little minor auxiliary creek that requires another separate opening as well. All right, so yeah, similar situation. So. All right, so just want to summarize the next steps for the project. So we've wrapped up task 5. So task 5 was the alternatives analysis and just generating the list of the proposed solutions for the FMPs for the projects that we submitted. So we submitted to the Sabine Regional Flood Plan Group on March 31st. That was kind of their first interim submittal that they wanted us to make. They had some feedback for us at that time, so a couple iterations with the Sabine Regional Flood Plan Group, mainly in regards to the impacts. So that required us to change some of the road elevations that we were proposing, some of the spans, in order to meet their specific, no-rise impacts. To be kind of a little more info, but Sabine is a little more conservative, I guess, when it comes to the impacts when compared to the other regional flood plans. So the other regional flood plans may allow you to have some more engineering judgment as to it doesn't cause a rise because there's nobody here, stuff like that. But Sabine wanted to adhere strictly to the board, the Texas Water Development Board's requirements. So we had to make some revisions. But all FMPs were accepted. So all projects were submitted and to the Sabine and the Lower Red, and they've all been accepted for inclusion in this first round of funding from the state flood plan. So it still remains to be seen when, the state still has to process it and submit it, I think, it's going to be like September of next year is what, according to their website. That's the first round of funding, and then it's just an ongoing process with the state as they kind of work out this new state flood plan funding process. But it's all FIF funds that are going to be allocated, so yeah.
There's not going to be any matching on that, is there?
Sorry, what?
Are we going to have any match funds for those grants to do the?
Yeah, still,
Have they said?
They haven't said it yet, but it is in there. As, when we submit it to the state for funding, they do ask that question, and we've submitted as far as this case as there would be no local match. For now, that's what we've stated on that.
I was thinking that's what we had done, but I didn't know if we had any reports back if
Yeah.
they were going to be acceptable.
Yeah, no, that's what we submitted, said there is no anticipated local match at the moment. So
Okay.
hopefully that pulls through at the state, and it all depends on how many projects they get on this first regional flood plan cycle. But since this is the first one, I think we have high chances of, since we're early in that sense, we can still probably, it increases our probability of getting more funds at the first cycle than having to wait for the next one and at the end of 2024 or something like that.
Have more counties jumped on now? Wasn't a whole lot on the first round.
No, I'm working with 2, but not on a county level, I could say. There's some municipalities that have jumped on, but they've kind of they're kind of like stakeholders at the regional flood plan level, but they don't have, then probably not as much coordination at the county level that I've observed. So.
Okay.
But yeah. Okay, and then task 6, we're also tasked with the dam assessment of Wolf City Reservoir 1 and 2. We're in data collection for it, so once we get some data, we can finish up that task. and we're working on the draft technical report for Task 7. So the draft report is going to be extensive, but it's going to document all our assumptions that we've made and provide everything, all the digital data, everything that we've created as part of this project will be included as an appendice. But it'll be submitted to the county for review before it's submitted to the board, to the Texas Water Development Board for their approval. Their review window is about 45 days, so we have to submit to them, and then if they come back with comments, we'll just close them out. Usually it's just more detail in the report on some items. And then public outreach, and last item, there's also a project website available for this project, which has some of this information. This slide presentation will be uploaded there as well. And there's also an interactive map. So if you want to, it doesn't contain all the model results, because that's quite extensive, but it's just a map for, so there's a website, and then the map is just a map of the county for anyone to add any comments or specific known locations of flooding. If they have anything that they would like to be included in the report, as we're working on the draft, we can include that to document, future locations to evaluate for FMEs at least, or FMPs. So.
Y'all can get up and walk over there closer if you need to.
Yeah, I can go back to, that's the QR code. That takes you straight to the map. Yeah, it takes you straight to the map.
Got it? Y'all got it? Okay.
Yeah, I can go back one, I think. There you go, that's the bigger one, so, okay.
See if they can get that one now.
May I ask a question? Basically, this came up several years ago in reference to when they built the road over the Sabine on 69 South. And at that time, they did a study in reference to the back filling up due to the drainage leaving. Am I making sense? And at one time, they said, well, what it'll do is there will be abundant more water, so they made up for it doing the bridge, as far as making the bridge wider, okay? That way it wouldn't fill back up and overflow some of the ones that were upstream from that bridge. In reference to all this, that eventually affects the Sabine River, will they have to later go on and open that up even more if this is going to let the water go through faster?
I don't know the specific, you mentioned it was Highway 69? Was
Highway 69, about probably 10 miles south of Greenville, where it comes back around, because all this has part to do with that also.
Yeah, I don't know the specific location. I'm assuming you're saying it's like is it downstream of the?
Oh, this is downstream from everything right there, yes.
Okay. Yeah, we did run an evaluation as part of the process for impacts, where we checked the water surface was one. Another thing we checked was the peak flow leaving our study extent. So when we parse this out for just analyzing a specific bridge, at the end of our study area, the peak flow cannot increase as part of our efforts. So it doesn't change the storage, it doesn't change the peak flow leaving our study area. So anything downstream, which in none of our models, there wasn't a road immediately downstream of it, but if it's further downstream, the effects of this project would likely be dissipated out by the time it gets to that point.
Good enough, thank you.
Yeah. I think the tolerance that we are given is about 1%. I think that's about it, for 1% in peak discharge difference. But I think most of them were well below that.
Good, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Anything else before the court today? Daniel, step outside.
You thought it.
Okay. Ask Daniel if he's got anything else before we adjourn. Can't find him? I guess he doesn't need anything else. All right, Commissioners, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move. So move.
I hear a second in there? Okay. Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 11:30. Thank y'all.
Ms. Northcutt?